Hello guys, Sapphire Yakami with episode 21 of Teen Wolf Season 3 titled The Fox and the Wolf. And now with this episode, since this episode kind of goes to present day, then flashbacks, I'm going to start with the birth of the Nagusane and then the search for Styles. So it'll be easier to follow along. So I'm going to start off with the birth of the Nagusane. In 1943, two soldiers are offloading the bodies of dead Americans to a field at night. Merrick is riddling Hayes. The riddles are: what gets broken without being held? A promise. What has teeth but doesn't bite? A comb. What has a neck but no head? A bottle. Hayes is not amused as they return to the truck to retrieve two gas cans. A bandaged figure stands up from the pile of bodies. Its mouth is a bloody gash with shiny silver teeth. It begins advancing on them. Hayes fires a handgun into the creature several times, but it never slows. Reaching the gun-wielding man, the figure twists the weapon in his hand and fires several shots into the soldier's guts. It then rounds the truck to Merrick, who is attempting to reach the safety of the cab, and grabs him by the ears and shouts, "What has a head but no neck?" It then rips the heads from the dude's neck, just decapitated the man. On a Saturday afternoon, Mr. Yukimura is preparing his blackboard in the history classroom. He notices a fly buzzing around, and when it lands on his desk, he crushes it with a textbook. Nagusane / Styles enters and comments on the teacher's dedication for working on a weekend. He's looking for Mrs. Yukimura's tales, which are hidden inside a book in the classroom. The Nagusane doesn't seem to understand how she was able to physically manifest her tails as daggers, but he does know the older the tail, the stronger the Oni, meaning the one she has left was some of the strongest of the demon warriors. Mr. Yukimura feigns ignorance, but Styles is confident that he will talk. He then lifts the textbook. The fly is alive and flies directly into Mr. Yukimura's mouth. He begins to cough and choke. In Kira's room, she and Scott examine a picture of a woman and a man from 1943. The woman looks exactly like Kira, and they speculate that it might be her grandmother. Scott relates how the picture came to him through Maya Tate. It was taken from the body in the wall in the basement of Eaton House, along with a katana and a scabbard or saya. Kira's phone buzzes with a text. It's her father. They rush to the school and find Kira's mom trying to comfort her husband, who is still choking on the floor where Styles left him. Kira has brought with her a small vial that her mother says contains reishi, which Kira describes as magic mushrooms. The fungus does the trick, and with a couple of seconds, Mr. Yukimura coughs up the black fluid and is fully recovered. Mrs. Yukimura's first name is revealed for the first time as Noshiko. She says Styles was after the last of her all these words. Oh my god, I'm so sloppy with Japanese. I'm just still learning. Kaikin. Okay, there we go. Kaikin. Or daggers that she has kept the final one near her ever since Styles first disappeared. Kira shows her picture and asks if it's her grandmother. Noshiko admits that the picture is of her. I'm like, ooh, mama looking good. Ooh, look at mama. But I'm like, wait a minute, cause I had to stop her. Mama, wait a minute. It's 1943. You know, because you gotta be like, she look good, but then you gotta realize, wait a minute, we talking about World War II. Hold on. So back in 1943, I'm mispronouncing words today. Hayes, Merrick, and Corporal Rise are offloading supplies at Camp Oak Creek. They come up one of the crates of apples short, and we see a young Noshiko Yukimura is definitely stealing the supplies from the truck being unseen by the soldiers. Scott is confused. For Kira's mom to be in the fold in 1943, she would have to be like 90 years old. Noshiko says her actual age is closer to 900 years old. I'm like, you look good, girl. You look good. 900, girl, you look good. You look good. You look good. That's all you gotta say. You look good. Kira is shocked but rolling with it. She turns to her father and asks his age. He says he's 43, but adds that he's told he looks mid-30s. So daddy is ages normally. Mommy is 900 and looking good. Kira hands off the katana to her mother. She opens the scabbard and the broken pieces of the sword fall out. She explains that the blade was shattered the last time it was used against a Nagusane in 1943. Scott points out that history is repeating itself. Mr. Yukimura quotes Spanish philosopher George All these names. Santan George S. That's what I'm saying. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Kira wants to know where the dark spirit came from, and Mrs. Yukimura says it started at a Japanese internment camp called Oak Creek, not too far from Beacon Hills. Scott reminds Yukimura that he told Allison and Isaac there was no such place. He admits that he lied, saying he didn't know if he could trust Allison since the Argents have a reputation for violence. Noshiko says the history of the camp was erased in a cover-up. Mr. Yukimura says he became obsessed with finding the truth of Oak Creek when he was in grade school. It was his research that led him to meet his wife. Noshiko admits that ultimately the Nagusane came for her. Inside one of the barracks at Oak Creek, a woman is handing off the apples Noshiko stole from the truck earlier. She warns the other prisoners to keep their voices down because if the guards hear, they'll get nothing. Noshiko gives a baseball she stole from the soldiers, Soldier Hayes, to Michio, a young boy. The cautious woman chastises Noshiko for stealing the baseball, knowing it could cause trouble. Noshiko turns to an older woman named Satomi, who is playing a board game called Go, saying that she can feel her glaring. Satomi says Noshiko steals too often and too much and refuses to be swayed when offered a full bottle of aspirin despite her monthly migraines. There follows here some subtext with Satomi saying that Nishiko thinks her a fool and a coward for following the rules. Satomi says the young fox learns the rules so she can break them while the older, wiser animal learns the exception to the rules. I'm like, ooh. At the moment, Micho's ball goes flying through the window pane, shattering the glass. Everyone panics and hides the stolen goods. Soldiers Hayes, Merrick, and Corporal Rise respond to the noise. Merrick says there were supplies stolen. He begins to touch one of the female prisoners, suggestively searching the pockets of her dress. So pretty much what it's saying is his hands are in her pockets. He's actually feeling around her pelvic region. Like really, dude, really sexual harassment, really. And they can't do nothing about it. That's the messed up part. She can't, punch him in the face or kick him in the balls, This is just terrible. Everything people go through. I don't care whether you black, white, Asian, Jewish. We are all of us have gone through some sort of, or every race has gone through some sort of slavery at some point in history, So he says the prisoners are to fix the windows and delay the search for the stolen goods until the next day. Before he exits, Rise returns the baseball to Micho. To Noshiko, Satomi says, oh, I'm serious, the Japanese. Jitoku. I think I pronounced that right. I might have pronounced it wrong. Which she translates as you reap what you sow. The phrase usually has a negative connotation, meaning you will receive the results of your past actions. In the present, Noshiko is trying to get her daughter to help her reassemble the katana. She says it has to be done in the daylight. Kira refuses, so her mother tells them everything. Me, oh my god, I'm just like, Kira, shut up and listen to your mama, okay? Oh my god, you have become so Americanized. Ugh. It's like she just, in this episode, Kira becomes just too much for me. She's like, I don't have to selfie. I'm like, shut up and just listen. God, becoming too American. Ugh. Mr. Yukimura urges his wife to tell them, but she stubbornly brings up how wolves and foxes don't get along. Mr. Yukimura counters, saying allies, however unlikely, should always be welcome in times of war. You got a point there. Corporal Rise and Nishiko meet in the motor pool at the camp. They are in love, but Rise warns her not to steal so much, especially medical supplies. He then gives her chocolate and they kiss. So now we got the whole romance part of it. Kira stops the narrative, saying she doesn't want to hear her mom's Casablanca story anymore. Scott says she is stalling because once darkness falls, the Oni will return to hunt Styles. Scott isn't convinced that Styles can't be saved despite both Yukimura's assurance that he's lost to them. Noshiko is helping Rise learn French for his transfer to North Africa when they overhear Merrick and Hayes talking to the camp's doctor. Money changes hands, but it's unclear why. So we got something sneaky going on with the doctor. Back in the present, Noshiko has clutched a piece of broken sword so tightly that her hands begin to bleed. But when she opens her fist, her hand is healed. She says it's part of being a kitsune and points out that Kira never gets sick. And back in 1943, this part of her makeup protects her when bacteria pneumonia sweeps through the Oak Creek camp. Rise learned that the camp is all out of M and B sulfate. Who comes up with these names for these medicines? In which effectively treats the disease. Noshiko remembers seeing 3 boxes of the drug when she was stealing stuff, but Rise says the doctor is claiming they only got 1. They realize that the doctor and American Hayes have been stealing the drugs and selling them on the black market. So obviously, some other disease must be going on in 1943 that they gotta sell it. I'm not sure what's going on in 1943 besides the war, but okay. Micho, the boy from earlier, dies. His father is distraught upon learning what happened to the life-saving medicine the inhabitants of the camp riot. I'd be mad too. You sitting here, I mean, you already got these people in a freaking camp because you think, I think what I remember from history class is that they thought that the Japanese Americans were going to help was going to be helping, like, sending information to the people of Japan. So they all put them in camps. I'm like, really? Really? So just because they Japanese, you assume that they're gonna help their native country in whipping your ass in the war? Okay, yeah. They using their, they just. I mean, just because. Oh God. I'm sorry. Okay, so back to the show. They surround the doctor's car as he's trying to leave camp. Like, you ain't going nowhere. Satomi, as it turns out, is a werewolf and becomes so angry that she loses control and attacks the soldiers. Because I think one of them slaps her. I'm like, oh. And when her eyes turn around, she went, hurt. I'm like, oh, snap. Noshiko says bitten werewolves have a harder time maintaining control. But Shiso's father lights a a cocktail, little fire cocktail thingies. Satomi takes it from him and throws it. It strikes Rise and he is burned alive. The other soldiers open fire, killing dozens of people. So it became complete chaos during this riot. A dude what David actually hurt them got burnt alive. The soldiers killed some of the people. It became crazy. Rise is taken to Ishin House for treatment but dies. So this is who is wrapped up in these bandages. I'm like, damn, though. Damn. Noshiko is shot several times. While her healing ability is able to save her life, it takes time to rid her of the bullets, and her vital signs drop so low everyone believes she is dead. Her body is taken with the others to be burned to cover up the evidence of the corruption at the camp. As she is being transported atop the pile of the bodies, she calls out the spirits of her ancestors. She wants a Nagusane to inhabit her body so she can seek vengeance for all the death in the camp. Instead, because Nagusane is a trickster, as all fox are, the trickster spirit inhabits Raya's dead body, which is lying next to her in the back of the truck. Just before American Hayes can destroy the evidence, the Nagusane rises up and kills them, takes their truck, and kills everyone at the camp and at Ishin House. So I think that's why they call it Echo House, because you probably could hear the spirits of the house, of the people that died there. I mean, you had a massacre at these 2 places. No wonder you probably hear echoes at this place. Noshiko confronts the spirit and attempts to kill it with a katana, but she is only able to get the upper hand with the help of the werewolf Satomi, who attacks her from behind. They kill the Nagusane's host. A fly comes out of his mouth and Noshiko catches it, puts it in a jar, and buries it under the Nemeton, which was still a full tree back in 1943. She says the dark spirit remained buried until Scott, Allison, and Styles did the surrogate sacrifice to save their parents and recharge the Nemeton. They piece together katana, and Kira uses her foxfire to make the sword whole again. Her mother gives it to her and says she must use it to get rid of the Nagusane. Sky gets a text to meet the others at the Derek's loft, and we found out that what type of kitsune that Kira and her mom are. They are thunder kitsune, so that's why we always see them with things with electricity. Now to go into the search for Styles. Deputy Parrish returns Chris Argent's cattle prod stun weapon, saying it's a few watts shy of a lightsaber. Zoom, zoom, zoom. The sheriff says that he'll handle the situation since murder charges have been dropped against against Arjun and Derek Hale. The sheriff says he's compared the brain scans of his wife and son and found them to be identical, which is impossible. They all realize that the trickster is still playing tricks and that Styles' recent scans are fake. The sheriff said that Nagusane is trying to take away their hope. He realizes that they are not just fighting for Styles' body, but for his mind as well. He needs the hunter and the werewolf to help him capture Styles. At the Arjun's apartment, Allison has gathered up all the non-lethal weapons she could find. Their original plan is to try to pick up Styles, send at the Eaton house, and then track him. They realize that the Nagusane is just trying to get them to repeat their actions from the last time he disappeared. He wants them running in circles until they walk into his trap. The sheriff gives everyone the opportunity to back out. Derek says he won't be the first wolf to run from a fox. Arjun points out that he has a lightsaber. Allison sends Derek and his father to Eaton house while she and the sheriff heads to the hospital. They plan to all meet later at the school. Despite what he said to the sheriff to Stilinski about trying to trap Styles, Arjun takes 2 fully loaded semi-automatic pistols with him as well. At the hospital with Sheriff Stilinski, Allison breaks down. She questions everything, saying she doesn't know if Isaac is dying. She also wonders if I forgot Isaac was in the hospital. She also wonders if she made a mistake with Scott, and she doesn't know if she can trust Derek. The sheriff hugs her and says she sounds like a cop. The sheriff's phone buzzes. He installs security cameras and motion sensors to alert him to Styles sleepwalking. The image on the sheriff's phone is of Styles sitting on his bed at his home, waving at the camera like, "Hey, Dad." Arjun, Derek, Allison, and the sheriff meet in Styles' room. Apparently, Styles rearranged the chessboard he had once used to explain the supernatural to his father. Isaac's pawn is off the board. Derek wonders why his name is on the king. The piece is heavily guarded on the board with Ethan, Aiden, and Peter in defensive positions. The sheriff points out that he's one move from being in checkmate, but the only piece shown close enough to place Derek's king in jeopardy is Allison's white knight. Chris says it's not a message from Styles, it's a threat from the Nagusane. Allison realizes he's waiting for them at the loft. The sheriff says the Nagusane won't kill them. He believes the killing is just a byproduct of the creature's tricks. He says the Nagusane wants irony and that they have to change the punchline. The sheriff walks into Derek's loft alone. Styles turns and says, "Hi, Dad." So that ends the episode of The Fox and the Wolf. So now we know how the Nagusane was born. It was born in 1943. Noshiko called upon her spiritual ancestors to help her get revenge on what just happened, but instead of inhabiting her body, inhabits the body of her dead lover, Rise, who was burnt alive by Satomi, who got pissed off when one of the soldiers hit her, and she went straight wolf on him and burnt poor Rise alive. So that was just terrible. I was like, well, damn. Oh damn. Oh damn. It's like nothing you could say. It's just like, damn. So that's all for The Fox and the Wolf. Again, the season finale titled The Divine will be this Monday coming up of Teen Wolf, and I can't wait to see what happens. So comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.